I had a guy come in and he sits down at my chair, just sits down and goes, "My name is Harry. I'm 43 years old. I've had 32 cars stolen."
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, that's what I
32 cars. Holy crap.
Can everything be fixed? It depends on the person, what they're doing. But I've seen people undo some like horrific stuff that, doctors told them they couldn't do. We were in Taconic State Park and walking along, and he's telling me, well, once you burn off about 50% of your karma, all of a sudden, all this information just rushes back in, stuff that you never thought you knew is all of a sudden just there.
Wow.
And then he's saying, and then you can understand the creation or the illusion of the physical plane. And I still remember the words coming out of my mouth, and I said, and then I can just walk through walls. And as I said that, he walked through a flagstone building.
This week on the Beyond Numerology podcast, I'm sitting down with the one and only Alexander Nemo. Alexander has been a practicing psychic for over 4 decades, and when I say practicing, I mean that in the truest sense of the word. He doesn't sit in the I know everything seat. He sits in the I'm still learning, still discovering, and still being surprised by this work seat. And that alone makes this conversation really special. Alexander works with tarot, clairvoyance, aura reading, and deep intuitive perception. But what he really does is help people get out of their own way and reconnect with who they actually are. In this episode, he shares stories from his 45 years of experience, how his abilities began to open when he was young, and how his entire path has been shaped by curiosity, humility, and a real relationship with the unseen. We talk about what psychic work is really like behind the scenes, why accountability and personal power matter so much, how karma actually works, and why transformation isn't about someone fixing you, but about remembering how much power you really have to fix yourself. We also get into magical practice, what it means to be a lifelong student of consciousness, and his book Magick, Beginning of the Path, which is all about helping people reclaim their own energy and realize what they're actually capable of. This conversation is deep, funny, grounded, and a little wild in the best way. It's full of those moments that make you rethink what you might believe about reality, healing, and of course about yourself. So without making you wait any longer, let's get into this episode. Welcome to Beyond Numerology. I'm Tammy Lopresti, the creator of Cosmic Ascended Numerology, a rare and super accurate way of decoding who you are and why you're here. If you're new around here, I'm so glad you found us. And if you've been in my world for a while, then you already know that I don't do numerology like everyone else. Think of this podcast as your weekly spiritual hangout, a place where we dive into your soul's plan, we uncover what you came here to learn, to understand, and to experience, and we help you to wake back up to the you that you came here to be. Every Friday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we go live on Facebook. We do free mini readings, we have great conversations, and we share a little surprise wisdom from whoever's sitting in the spiritual guest seat that week. It's always fresh, always different, and always a good time. So whether you're tuning in live or catching the replay, welcome. I'm so happy you're here, and I have a feeling you're going to love it. Now let's go beyond numerology, because your soul's plan starts right now. Hi everyone, I have Alexander Nemo with me this week. We had some technical difficulties, so we couldn't go live. So we're doing the next best thing, and we're recording not live, but we're still recording. So that's okay.
And we're not dead.
And we're not dead. We didn't die. So it's okay. You don't have to go send search parties. We're not missing. So, okay. So Alexander, I have known you for, I want to say like 3 years, but I don't know.
Probably on and off, and we've seen each other across social media, and
yeah,
it's been a while in weird ways. Yeah.
I originally ran across you, I guess, in a Facebook group I did a few years ago that was kind of a flop. I'm known for throwing spaghetti at the wall and just kind of seeing what sticks.
Oh, I
And
do that.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah. So that's been the online business world for me the whole time. So I
Mhm.
just literally go, "Oh, let's try this. I think people will like it." And then nobody likes it, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that sucked." So we just stop it. So that was kind of one of those things. Anyway, so that didn't work, but at least I met some really cool people. So
Yeah.
I met you there. So tell me about what you do and how it works. Tell me about that.
Wow. How it works. That's like a whole different.
Okay,
Anyway.
I don't know about how it works. Maybe how you do it. I don't know. What
Okay.
do you do and how do you do it? How about that?
Okay. So currently, I've been a practicing psychic for 45 years,
Okay.
and I still don't have it right. That's why I'm still practicing.
I
So,
thought that was interesting when you said that
yep.
before. Yeah.
Because it's very true. It's like you're always learning, and I think when people say, "Oh, you're really good at what you do," I'm like, "That's because I really understand how ignorant I am, and that keeps the doors open."
Well, when
So
you say you don't have it right, what does that mean exactly?
I'm always finding new ways to grow new skills that
Yeah.
weren't there a month ago, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I can do that, and then I try to replicate it, and then it doesn't work, and then I'll try
Yeah.
to do it again a month from now, and then it works. I'm like, really? So then you have to figure out why and how. So it's always this growing thing, but
Yeah.
overall, I think for my clients, my job is to help them get out of their own way.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And a lot of people, that's really tough because a lot of people just don't want to get out of their own way.
No. A lot of people like to stay stuck.
Mhm.
Well, it's like I don't know that they like to stay stuck, but they don't like to effort. They don't like to put effort into change. That's really what it is. It's like they want to change, but then as soon as they find out that there's effort involved, they're like, "Yeah, I'm okay."
Like,
You
I'll
know?
go back and have some cookies and milk now. And the
Hmm.
biggest thing is like, just like you, I'm sure a lot of your clients do the same thing as you, where they ask me, it's like, yes, but what should I do? And I'm like, no, 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 no. I am not
Hmm.
going to tell you what to do. That's
Yeah.
your karma. I can tell you
Yeah.
what's in the cards. I can help you define something, but freedom of choice, that's all you, because I'm not getting involved with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of people
Yeah.
want you to tell them what to do. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard one because it's like you want to direct people, but you don't really have, I mean, you're not them. You can't do it
Right.
for them. So, but you can tell them, based on what I see,
Mhm.
you could go in this direction or this direction, things like that. Yeah.
Well,
And you can see what they're struggling with, so you can like give them guidance there. So,
and I'm sure you try and I try, but sometimes you just look at them like, because it's like the credit. It's like,
mhm.
oh, this person stole my kid's allowance and broke into my bank account and had two affairs with my cousins, but I want to know if he's the one. And you're sitting there like,
No, probably not.
should I keep him or divorce him? Like, I can't even begin to
Oh, yeah, I would never be able to tell you that.
Yeah,
That's definitely a personal decision. But definitely from a friend point of view, I would say, hey, you probably should surround yourself with better people.
yeah, really.
You know?
So for all of us in the metaphysical field, it's like, yeah, we
Mhm.
all feel for you because it gets crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've been at it for a long time, so I
So,
use tarot cards,
yeah.
clairvoyance, or
Okay.
reading. Whatever I need to use, it comes up because I'm an all-around
Hmm.
psychic. I took the word medium off of my cards
Okay.
because people were coming in with 5 vials of dead relatives saying, I have to contact Aunt Mary. I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
So were you always a psychic? Were you born a psychic, or did it develop as you got older?
I started getting memories back when I was about 12, so it sort of started
Okay.
there. And
Okay.
then when I was a younger person, somewhere around 16ish, I ran across my friend who was an absolute walking master and who literally spoke 40 languages from memory when he was 5.
Wow.
Yeah, his parents thought he was because he was sitting in the corner and mumbling at 4, and his
Oh
father
my goodness.
invited his friend over from Pakistan, and he
Yeah.
walks in. He goes, "Why is your son speaking Farsi?" No, 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 that's my native tongue. And yeah,
Oh my goodness.
so
Wow.
now
That's incredible.
And I have lots of
Wow.
very scary, weird stories with hanging out and growing up with that person. And it's just like, so when
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, you just believe in this," it's like, no. I don't
No.
know. Been there, got the t-shirt, hat, shoes, everything. Yeah, no, it's much
Yeah.
more than that.
I think something about being spiritual is that it's less about you exploring it and it exploring you. And I don't think people think that way. But it's kind of like it finds you. It's not really you go out and find it usually. I don't think, you know?
No, it's true. And it's like
Yeah.
as you open up and as you heal yourself, then your
Yeah.
vibrational state goes up and more things become evident that you can do. And it
Yeah.
keeps on rolling. And then people
Hmm.
think that, well, everyone unfolds the same way. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
But
work that way. Yeah.
because even when I'm doing like my magical mentoring thing, it's like, oh, it just
Hmm.
goes from A to B to C. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I said it goes from A to B if
No.
I'm really lucky, and then
Yeah.
probably goes to L22, then
Yeah.
C5, back to A1 and a half. I mean,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone unfolds differently with their incarnational background
Yeah.
and stuff, and yeah,
Yeah, well, and it comes down to belief system as well. Like it depends
sure,
on what you believe and how you believe it and what you are willing to accept, I think, you know.
right,
So, yeah. Anyway, so you've been practicing for 45 years.
yeah.
What does a reading look like with you? Is it typically in person or over Zoom or some
I,
other way?
I do a lot of readings in person because I'm still out
Okay.
doing the festivals. Me and my partner Sultania
Yeah.
are always out at shows. It's
Yeah.
moving more and more towards Zoom, which I like
Yeah.
because, as we said
Yeah.
before, I can sit here in my bunny slippers and do a reading, and I don't have to go anywhere,
Yeah.
which is absolutely great. A
Yeah.
typical reading, most of my readings are about half an hour, and
Hmm.
people come in, or I try to help them understand that they need to come in with
Hmm.
questions or specific things, and then probably 90% of my job is trying to get people to form questions that are correct or workable. Because people will
Okay.
come in and say, I'm moving to Chicago, but my mother is sick and I want to know how my dog's going to do. And my right foot hurts. And do you know if I'm going to buy a car? I'm like, you want this all in one spread? And I'm like getting a headache. I'm like, that doesn't
Yeah.
work. That's like 12 separate questions.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you have them come and just ask a question and that's how you do it?
A lot of times I'll
Yeah.
say, what are we looking at today? Or if they've
Yeah.
pre-booked the reading, I'll literally send them a little PDF thing saying, think
Yeah.
about these things, please, so we have a
Yeah.
clue.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
And a lot of the people now are getting the idea that, oh, I need to have a direction, which helps a lot. Or even if it's a
Mhm.
general overview, that's better than just sitting there going, I don't know, just like something. And so,
Yeah. Yeah. I
what do I need
learned
to know?
I learned to say, what is it that I need to know? I
Right,
learned that years and years ago during meditation. I would say
right.
that because I wasn't really sure, I wasn't clear about what I wanted to know. I kind of wanted to know what the other side would want to tell me, you know?
Sure,
And I actually got a lot of messages that way. And I show up at readings that way typically. I mean, not
that's fine.
sometimes I show up with questions, but I typically will say, tell me what it is that my guides want me to know, or the cards want me to know, or whatever the modality is. I'm like,
Mhm.
tell me what it is that it wants to tell me, you know? Do you find that that works, or is it a
Absolutely.
good
Because
way?
no, absolutely. Because in my theory, it's like our higher self is what we're trying to get back to, and that's
Yeah.
our divine spark, the perfected side of us.
Yeah.
So trying to reconnect or communicate with that is great. And I think all of any esoteric or magical work is really getting rid of all the stuff that blocks the communication to your higher self.
Hmm.
So everything for me moves in that direction. And
Hmm.
I've always found that very amazing, especially with like past life work and things like that, because people carry all sorts of stuff with them. And then when they find it, it's like, oh, this is now healed, or I can, it's just,
Hmm.
it's amazing to watch.
Yeah, yeah. I love transformation. I think I'm addicted to transformation, actually. I think that's
Sure.
why I love this work because I love seeing my favorite thing is to watch someone come in looking one way and to leave an hour later looking completely different. Like that's my
Yeah.
favorite thing in the whole world. And that happens a lot of the time, like a lot of the time. And the
That's great.
Yeah. The other thing that I love is I love that people come back and they say, this was a pivotal moment in my life. Like they'll say, this I can pinpoint as when life changed and got better, and they'll say whatever you told me that day did something. And I'm like, well, I know what it did. Like I know what happened. I unlocked you back to your truth. And
Right.
that's the only difference. I told you it was okay to be you,
Hmm.
whereas nobody told you that before. As soon as I told you that, it's like it became an unlocking so that you could be you. You could walk in your own path and you could remember who you really are and why you're here. And that's all that changed, really.
But that's a massive thing because people
Yeah.
don't understand how much they're blocking or what they're carrying with them, or
Yeah.
like I said, all
Yeah.
past incarnations. And but that's always nice when you see someone totally turn around and say, "Oh my God, this is awesome." And like I said, I always like knowing that someone now has a new viewpoint where they
Yeah.
can now go out and start exploring, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
satisfying.
Yeah, I love that too. And I love reminding people that they're powerful creators themselves and that they're in control of this life, like they don't have to seek outside of them. They don't have to come to people like us. They can find all these answers within themselves. I like telling them that, and teaching
Yeah, it's
them
just,
that.
and unfortunately, a lot of times they just
So-
don't believe us, do they?
No, they don't. But after a little while, after they come a few times, I think they do start getting that. They do start understanding that
Mhm.
they actually hold a lot of answers for themselves. But it takes some adapting to that, I think.
Oh, a
So,
lot, because
yeah.
people, above all, it doesn't seem like people want the culpability for their own pathway or what's going on.
Well, we seriously lack accountability in the world at this time.
Yeah.
I was just talking about this to who was I? I don't know. I want to say it was my brother, but it might have been my daughter. But I remember it couldn't have been my daughter. I remember in the 80s thinking that everyone had accountability. Like I mean I remember a point. I don't know when
Yeah.
exactly. I just remember when I was a child thinking that people did have accountability. I remember people being responsible for paperwork and for trails of things and it was kind of like someone was in charge and you knew that that's who you go to. It seems like we've lost that somewhere, like along the way. We've lost the trail of how things happen and why and who's responsible. And
Yep.
now every single person seems to push it to the next person. Like you call customer support, like right now, I need to call customer support for a problem I'm having because I can't go live tonight.
Really.
I'm fully aware that I might actually talk to them, and the first person I talk to might say, "Well, I don't know how to fix it. Talk to this person." And
Right.
that person might say, "Well, I don't know how to fix it. Talk to this person."
Yeah.
Because that seems to be the way that accountability goes these days, you know.
Yeah. I
Isn't
do that with
it?
my
So,
hosting service where
yeah.
they'll give me absolutely stupid answers for something, and I'll just
Yeah.
hang up and call up another one, and the new person will be like, "Okay, just click this button. Thank you. That's what I needed to."
But
But yeah,
yeah, but
accountability
do
because
you remember a time when you could call somewhere or show up somewhere and you would say, I have this problem, and the person that you were looking at or talking to would say, Oh, I can help you with that. You
I
know, I
yeah,
remember a time when that was the truth. You
sure.
know? So I think we're in weird times that way.
Yeah.
And I think, a reminder from us to everyone that we interact with is a good idea to say, hey, you're responsible for this life. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. And
It gives you your
I always
power
tell people
back.
that, it's like, well, yeah, or people say, "Well, this isn't my fault." I'm like, "Is it in your life?" They're like, "Well, yeah." I said, "Then somehow, some way, yeah,
Yeah.
you brought it here." Or when
Yeah.
people that use the word karma, it's like, "Well, karma's going to get that person. That person just stole my car." And I'm like, "Whoa." I said, "What
Hmm.
happens if you stole their horse and buggy 100 years ago and karma just got you now?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like,
Karma.
"Wow, I never thought of it
Yeah.
that way." I'm like,
Karma is absolutely real, but my spirit guides have told me over and over and over that it is not a human concept and that we should stop thinking of it that way.
Well, yeah, because
like
people try to,
the
like, just label it
yeah.
into simple, well, it's
Yeah.
punishment or reward. I'm like, "No, no, just it's a
No,
balancing
it's
act."
balance. All it means is balance. And the
Right,
universe will always balance whether us tiny little humans find balance or not. So
right, and it's
that's
like,
all.
I mean, there's so many weird stories about people coming in and, like, with
Mhm.
weird occurrences, then they do a reading, and they're like, "Well, oh, that makes sense."
Mhm.
I had a guy come in and he sits down at my chair, just sits down and goes, "My name is Harry. I'm 43 years old. I've had 32 cars stolen."
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
"That's what I."
32 cars. Holy
I'm like,
crap.
"Wow, your insurance companies must hate you." He goes, "I don't even want to talk about it." He said,
Mhm.
"What are we trying?" He goes, "I'm trying to understand." And while I'm doing the readings, the karma card is like the first thing that came up. And I'm looking at him, I'm looking at his aura. I'm like, "Are you having trouble going to sleep at night because you can't breathe?" He goes, "That just started a couple months ago." I'm like,
Oh.
"And your neck hurts?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "You were hung as a horse thief." And he goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "That makes
Oh.
then the cars are balancing out the horses." Like, then he leans in and goes, "Do you know what I
Uh,
do for a living?" I'm like, "No." He goes, "I train rodeo horses."
oh my goodness. That's
Even worse, he
crazy.
goes, even, and then he's like, he goes, "You know what my nickname is?" I'm like, "I have no." He goes, "Horse thief."
Oh my goodness.
I'm like,
That's
"How'd you get the
crazy.
name?" Yeah, he said, "How'd you get the name Horse thief?" He goes, "I get to the shows early, so I pull
Mhm.
horses out of the corrals, put them out, feed them, start the training, and the owners come in and there's no horse in their corral. So they
I
start
think
walking around,
that's
it's like,
so
"Where's the
funny.
effing horse thief?"
Mhm.
And I would be like,
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
like, "See, some things
That's
just, like,
funny.
follow you."
That's funny. Yeah, I love when people come and you don't know anything about them and you say something like that and they go, "How could you know that?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't know that." What
Yeah,
are you
I
talking
mean,
about?
and there's tons of stuff, but past life
Mhm.
healing is the best because people, and then people say, "Oh, you can do a past life reading for me." I'm like, "No, I can't." I said, "Well, why not?"
Mhm.
Because you see the stuff. I said, "Because I can't verify it." I
Mhm.
said, "I can sit here for half an hour, take your money, and literally blow air up your nose, and you wouldn't know if it's right." I
Yeah.
said, "But if we find stuff that works, and all of a sudden it's like, oh,
Mhm.
my shoulder doesn't hurt because you dug out a metal ball from the Civil War." I said, "At least we have verification."
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's always fun dealing with people that, because lots of people have done miraculous things. Then they're like, "How does that work?" I'm like, "Here, go and
Mhm.
read this book. There you go." It's
Yeah, yeah. So so what would you say is your driving force in what you do? Like what motivates you and makes you wanna do this for so long?
for me, I think I'm trying to grow up and move toward freedom, and
Mhm.
everything I teach is probably a mirror of what I need to know. So that's
Mhm.
really what keeps me going because,
So
yeah, it's always finding, helping the client, or
yeah.
you're teaching a class and getting stumped by a question. I'm like, well, there we
Mhm.
go.
Mhm.
It's
So is it your drive to understand yourself then? Like you're always trying to understand yourself and then go doing all of this helps that? Is that
I think it's myself and my own relationship to the universe, let's say,
yeah. Yeah.
because I mean, things keep on opening up and changing. So I'm always sitting there very cautiously walking the pathway because I never know what's going to happen next,
Mhm.
or what new thing is going to open up. And when I said that I have been scared by my friend Ed a lot, I mean,
Mhm.
we were up in New York, we were in Taconic State Park,
Mhm.
and walking along, and he's telling me, well, once you burn off about 50% of your karma, all of a sudden all this information just rushes back in, stuff that you never thought you knew is all of a sudden just there. And then,
Wow.
he, and then he's saying, goes, and then you can understand the creation or the illusion of the physical plane. And I still remember the words coming out of my mouth. And I said, and then I can just walk through walls. And as I said that, he walked through a flagstone building.
Oh my
And he
goodness.
came out and goes, like that? I'm like, show off. He goes, part of the job.
Oh my goodness.
So
So, what
being
is
able to
he?
reach
Like,
that type, sorry?
what is he? Like, what is his
He was very
why is
evolved.
he
He
like that?
he burnt off, according to him, when he got here, he said,
Yeah.
"If you imagine everyone coming to the physical plane and everyone screaming as they're going down this giant slide to the volcano and to get to this plane of existence that was
Mhm.
created as a game," he goes, "While everyone's screaming," he goes, "I was laughing." So when I got
Mhm.
here, I never lost any memory.
Wow. He didn't lose any memory?
That's his story. I mean, can I verify
Uh-huh.
this? No, but
Well, of course,
seeing what
yeah.
I've seen, yeah. So That's how just,
Wow.
yeah, crazy stuff.
So
And
have you sat and talked to this guy for hours and just asked him 100 questions? Because
I,
that's
I
what I
had
feel like
I
I
had
would have to do.
I did that for like 25 years. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like nonstop, but it's just, I mean, unbelievable stuff. But that's what drives me, because I always, in the back of my head, it's like, I know he could do it. So now it's like,
Mhm.
how do I get there, or finish resolving whatever's stopping me from being able to do
What do you think stops you? Have you thought about it?
it? It's probably, I don't have enough crayons and cardboard, but and there's unresolved karma, there's emotional blockages, there's expectations, there's psychological stuff, because everything, in order to get to that type of freedom, you have to give up all the limits of what you think is here.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally
So,
like Buddha saying you can have the thousand-story mansion of gold as long as you don't want it. That is a gigantic statement.
mm-hmm.
And I really think that's what it takes to get to
So do you think that it's like, do you think it's conditioning that stops you, or do you think it's like
it.
built up things from the past that you bring with you? Like, what do
Probably
you
all
think?
of the above.
Yeah.
And as soon as you think you have one direction down, then something else opens up. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them don't make sense or interconnect. And even when I'm reading for people, I'll sit there and say, this is going to sound crazy, but I want you to try to
Mm-hmm.
wrap your head around this.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you see the little light bulbs go off, you're like, apparently that hit correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have had whatever. One client in England, and they called me up, and this person's niece was in the hospital, 13 years old, can't keep food down, losing weight,
Mm-hmm.
wasting weight or nothing. Doctors didn't know what it is, dehydrating, just all this stuff. So they said, just talk to her. So I spent like an hour on the phone with her. So we're playing with the cards and tarot. And then I finally just get this rush of inspiration. I'm like, so, Amy, I said, what do you think about the Roman times and all? Oh, she just lit up. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
love the Roman times. And they were so
Mm-hmm.
great. The conqueror, she's good. I said, what if I told you that I thought
Mm-hmm.
that you may have been a soldier? She goes, oh, that would be great. And she went into the shields and the swords and all the different types.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I want you to wrap your head around this. Maybe you were a soldier and you were on campaign and you were in an encampment, and someone snuck into your encampment and poisoned the well that you were drinking out of. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, do you think that could have happened? I'm like, I'm saying that your symptoms seem an
Mm-hmm.
awful lot like someone being, and a week later, she put on 10 pounds, eating like a horse, and was fine, has no idea why.
Wow.
But
Wow.
just knowing that information unhooked
Yeah.
that energy, and
Yeah.
she was able to move past it.
So is that typically the experience you will have when you're doing readings, or are they all over the place?
They're all. I wish
Yeah.
I could say that this is it. It's
Yeah.
just whoever is there, whatever is going on, and it's always unique, and
Yeah.
that's also keeps me on my toes. It's like, gee, what's
Yeah.
going to happen now?
Yeah. So do you basically do you tap into a certain place? Like I will say that I channel with my spirit guides, you know.
Mhm.
Do you tap into some certain place that you know you're tapping into, or like what do you think's happening?
Well, for me, I mean, I have a long memory. Number one, so I
Hmm.
have various pantheons of gods that I have
Hmm.
really good relationships with.
Okay.
But more so, even than that, when I'm reading, I do my best to tap into a place of detachment. This way I
Okay.
can
Yeah.
hear or
Yeah.
feel, or I'll literally allow part of that person's consciousness tell me what's going on.
Hmm.
And then,
Yeah.
of course, the cards do a great job, but that's one tool. And sometimes the
Hmm.
cards are just there to fascinate me so I can listen.
Oh yeah, I always say that everything that we use, like cards or crystal balls or the chart that I draw or any of those, I look at those as props. I
Mhm.
really look at that as you need something so that it doesn't look like you're just gathering from the air. You know,
Right.
like it helps people believe you for what you're
Mhm.
saying because they think that that card is telling you something or showing you something, and they don't I don't think that people realize that a lot of psychic work actually is pulled from the ether.
Sure.
And this is just the prop that kind of guides us to allow it, like to allow it to come through, you know?
No, yeah.
And it kind of like it helps us and it helps them. It helps us connect and it helps them with believability, you know, because they think we're getting it from somewhere that they can see, so it's more
Mhm.
tangible. But really, I think we're actually entering some kind of different realm of consciousness where we're entering a space in their energy field. You know,
Oh,
that's what I
yeah.
really think's happening.
Without a doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
tarot cards in specific, because they're archetypally based, it's symbolism
Hmm.
that's embedded into everybody's consciousness. So
Yeah.
they do work extraordinarily well. And it's really funny when I see young readers that say, "Oh, I really know what I'm doing. I've been reading for 6 years." And I'm like,
Hmm.
I've been reading for 45 and I'm still finding new stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't trust anyone that says that they're an expert or that they know what they're doing all the way because I don't think that that's possible. Like I think it's a balance. Like I've always felt like a student in my work. And
Yeah,
even now as a teacher of my work, I still feel like a student of my work. I don't ever feel like I'm ever going to know it all, and I really hope I never do,
I
you
think
know?
that is the perfect way to do it, because even when I
Yeah.
teach, I emphasize, I said, more than anything else, you have to learn how to become the expert student.
Hmm.
Because just because something
Yeah.
says something this way doesn't mean it is. Now you have to go above and beyond to find out what it really is. And even when you find out what it really is, a year from now, you may learn something else and it's not what it really
Oh
is.
yeah, I can't tell you how many things I thought I knew that were kind of right in the moment, you know? But then I realized later that they have so many more layers that I didn't see before, you know?
Right.
And it takes you to a whole new place. It's like, yes, that's true, but you only hit the surface. And
Right.
that itself was a discovery when it happened, and you were like, wow, mind blown, you know? But then
Yep.
like when you're ready for it, they give you more. And you're
Sure.
like, wow, now I really know I don't know anything. You know?
That's the whole
Like,
thing. People say, "Oh, are you an initiate in a magical system?" I'm like, every
mhm.
time I've discovered how much I don't know, that's like a new initiation, because now
Yes.
you have to start over again
Yes.
in a
And that
way.
is what it feels like. It feels like leveling up in initiation.
Right.
And that's actually what I teach in wizard school is, you know, that we do an initiation with Merlin because that's who our teacher is.
Right.
He started showing up when I started teaching. I didn't know that he was the guide of numerology. I had no idea. Like I had no idea that I worked with Merlin. I always knew that I was magical and that, you know, everything around me is magic and I
Mm.
was always attracted to magic, but I had no idea. And
Right.
then he just started showing up with all my students, and then he started showing up with me, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
Okay,
cool."
well, we'll do this now.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I didn't know.
always keeping your mind open and going to the next level is just a matter of understanding that you have not arrived. People will sit down and say, "Oh, this is my last incarnation, so I'm just trying to find out what's going
Hmm.
on." I'm like, "Walk through the wall." I can't do that. Then it's not your last incarnation.
Mm, interesting.
That's the litmus test. Because if
Mm,
you haven't overcome the illusion of the wall, you are definitely not
mhm,
ready to just walk out and be free, because
mm,
that's still limiting you.
mm. Yeah, your perception and all that too. Yeah.
I say, well, have you ever seen anyone do that? I'm like, yes,
Yes,
that's
you
why I
have.
know this.
So,
I
okay.
can't walk through the wall either, so we're on the
Yeah.
same boat.
So I know that you've written and published a book. Tell me
Oh
about
yeah.
that. Tell
Okay.
me tell me what that is and what would I learn if I read it?
Okay. So Magic Beginning the Path was
Okay.
specifically written because I was tired of answering the same questions 10,000 times from students.
Okay.
Everything, I'm in all honesty, the first two chapters
Hmm.
read like someone eating dry graham crackers with no milk. No, and I understand that, because we're going through like the technical stuff and the words and blah blah blah. But after that,
That's good though.
yeah,
Yeah.
after that it becomes a lot of fun, because every chapter is standalone, every chapter is hands-on. If you
Mm.
do this, you will get results. And we
Mm.
start off with something called energy reclamation, which is people learning how to gather their energy back from stuff that they've lost it on, like
Mm.
physical injuries, emotional stuff. And as they start getting results from that,
Mhm.
then they're sort of stuck, because it's like, well, hell, that works. I'm
Mhm.
like, yes. And even better, they can't blame it on me because I didn't do it for them.
Yeah.
Said,
Yeah.
no, no, you have proved to yourself
Yeah.
that these concepts are working.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, one of my friends, Dominic, and he'll kill me when he hears this story on your show. He's from Dominic and Marianne. They're from
Okay.
South Africa.
Okay.
Dominic can walk in Florida on asphalt in July with bare feet
Oh my goodness.
because
Yeah.
that's how tough
That's,
his feet are. So
wow.
Marianne calls me up one day and she's like, I just want you to know that Dominic's really angry with you. I'm like, what the hell?
Mm.
I didn't do anything. He goes, no, no, no. He used the energy reclamation exercise. Like, and why is this a problem? He'll tell you. I'm like, okay. And Dominic finally calls me later that week. And he goes, here's what happened. And he used profanities at me. He said, I was going outside and I put my foot out and somehow I forgot something and I twisted around and I caught my toenail under the screen door
Oh.
and it ripped off the toenail. He goes, but then I
Oh.
fell backwards. So the metal dug into it. And
Oh my
Marianne just
goodness.
said, oh, use the energy reclamation. He goes, and I was cursing because that stuff doesn't work. And Marianne's like, just do it. And he goes,
Mhm.
and I did it. He goes, 10 minutes later, the pain stopped. He goes,
Wow.
oh, within 4 days, all the swelling was gone. A week and a half
Yeah.
later, the nails growing back.
Wow.
And I'm like,
Amazing.
so why are you angry at me? I
Yeah,
don't.
why are we angry here?
He said, because you have trapped me into understanding that I can do this.
Mm.
He goes, now I am culpable for learning more because it wasn't you, it wasn't some outside force. I did it. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's what the exercises are for. He goes,
Mhm.
and that's why I hate you right now. I'm like,
Mhm.
that's not fair. He goes, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense because, well, again, goes back to accountability. When you know that you make all this happen, you
Right.
can't unknow that. Once you know it, you can't unknow that.
And
Yeah.
and that's what it is. It's like too many
Mhm.
people try to say, well, this wasn't my fault. If it's in your life
Mhm.
somehow or another, probably. I mean, it may be something stupid. It may not be a punishment. It may be something that you're holding on to, but either way
Mhm.
around, it's there so you
Mhm.
can fix it. And when you learn how to fix
Mhm.
it, then you move forward from there. I
Yeah.
mean, can everything be fixed? It depends on the person, what they're doing. There's always these little, caveats of, well, if then, but I've seen people undo some like horrific stuff that, doctors told them they couldn't do.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I have too.
Yep.
Mm.
So and that's what that book is all about. And yeah, self-published because it's
Mhm.
not on Amazon because I refuse to give Amazon 90% of the profit and I make 2 cents. So
90%? Oh my
that's
goodness.
what when you actually do the math, it comes out of like I was getting 10
Wow.
cents a book that they sold, they got everything else. I'm like, no.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So I self-publish and we're in about
Yeah.
30 stores. And I mean, I've at least a lot of people that are self-published haven't
Mhm.
literally made any money. I've paid rent a bunch of times from the book sale.
Awesome.
So that's nice.
Awesome.
I mean, I'm not rich, but at least I could say, ha, I paid rent.
Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, the book
Yeah.
is available on my website. And
Yeah.
it's really a fulcrum point of people being able to say, what do I do? And I'm like, okay, did you do these chapters or you just have the book because the
Mhm.
cover is really cool? It's like,
Yeah.
no. I'm like, yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and I will put all the information so that people can find your book as well. So,
Oh, yeah.
so
Yeah.
that
And the
we can
Google
find
website, all that.
you and
Yep.
find everything that you do. Yeah.
I appreciate it. So what else are you going to
Yeah.
talk about? Because I know you had stuff that you wanted to cover also.
Well, I want to look at your numbers and I want to talk
Ooh.
about those. So,
Yes.
um, so let's do that.
I'm number
So,
5. No, I'm only kidding.
well, so everyone does numerology different. I do it a different way than most people. So, a lot of people come to me and they'll say, I am life path, this, that, or whatever. I don't
Mhm.
actually do life path numbers. So, and I don't do destiny numbers. And there's all these different ways to add your stuff up and then reduce it down and you get like a whole number.
Right.
I really believe that you can't be described with one number. That doesn't make sense to me because that's weird to me. It's like putting you in a category that like most people would be in then, like that doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. So, anyway, so you are actually a product of all of your numbers, both both the standalone number and the combination of that number with every other number in your chart. And
Mhm.
so like one of the big things in your chart is that you have four ones. And so you are not only what the one means, but you are times four of that. Then you would have an energy number of a four. So that would be something. And then you also have like all of the things that would then combine with the rest of your chart. So that's kind of what it is. It's like you start at the one little small part. So the one little small part would be, what does a one mean? You know, like what does the one say I am? The
Right.
one says that you are motivated, determined, very goal oriented. It says that you are someone who is working with your crown chakra. You're someone who's connected to the other side. You pull white light energy into your body, and then that's what you use. So then when I look at your other numbers, I say, okay, well, what are you using it for? Well, you're here to make the world a better place for you having been here. You like it to look better and feel better for the people around you. And so you're actually channeling that white light into your body, and then you're channeling it through your hands. So you're creating things with your hands, you know, and that can be all kinds of things, you know, but that's actually what you're doing with it. So you're taking that and you're infusing that white light into everything that you create. And then when you're giving those things to people or sharing them with people, they're actually getting that infusion of what you are bringing through, you know,
Yeah.
and that's why people, so like you're going to be somebody that's very memorable to people because your essence is in everything that you're creating. And so, like, you're the type of person that leaves a piece of you behind in everything that you do so they can still feel you in it. So, it's
Mhm.
like if you give somebody something,
Mhm.
whether you created it or not, actually, if you give somebody something, they're going to feel your essence in it. And so they're going to remember you just because of that, because they're going to feel you. You know, they're going to feel your energy. So,
Right.
so that's one thing that you do. And then you also have you have a very strong desire to balance things. You're always working on balance.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you might struggle with that. And that's on purpose because you're trying to learn that. You know, like that's
Right.
something you're working on. Um, but but you're really good at it actually. Like you're really actually good at it because you're really good at boundaries. Like that would say that you're good at boundaries and you're good at time and like managing time and you're good with like being scheduled and keeping that schedule and you're good with putting things in categories and keeping them separate and all of those things.
Mhm.
It would say that you are someone who is sorry, it's like saying something else, like when I'm trying
Right.
to say that. So like so what happens is I go to say one thing and then either the numbers or the guides will start interrupting and saying, don't, who cares about that? You know, they'll say, we want to talk about this instead, you know. So they're actually talking about that four. So you have an energy number of a four and a four is all about your solar plexus chakra and it's all about your relationship to your body. So they're actually talking about that and they're talking about your intuition. So like so your relationship to your body is your intuition. It's your relationship to self, you know, and it's the relationship of how your body talks to you, you know, and communicates with you. And it's saying that you have a strong relationship with that, okay? But then there's like something, okay, so I don't know if this I don't know.
Take your
I don't
time.
know if you get weird messages,
Oh yeah.
but my arm started tingling and I went, "Oh, does your arm hurt?" Like they're showing me something about the arm, but I don't know why because it's funny because it's so my right arm has been hurting, like my right shoulder for some reason, but they're showing me on my left side and they're like showing me okay, so okay, as I'm talking about it, they're showing me somebody gripping your arm and holding on to it. So I don't know if that okay, there's two reasons they might be showing me this, okay? So first I thought it was like a pain thing, but now I'm thinking it's a partnership. So like they're showing me someone holding on to your arm and then they're showing me how I used to hold on to my ex's arm when we would walk. and
Mhm.
they're showing me a partnership, and so they're talking about your partnership. So they're talking about your relationship.
Right.
And they're talking about the wisdom behind your relationship and how it's a working relationship.
Yes.
How you are equals and you are balanced in that. And they're talking about how because you hold your relationship at such a high standard, like you have a very high standard, and so does your partner,
Mhm.
you more than your partner, actually. They're showing me the partner standard is a little bit lower. Um, yeah, they're showing me a little bit about that. Actually, they're showing me that your partner struggles with that, actually, the self-worth stuff.
Mhm.
And they're saying you don't struggle with that. So you're actually teaching her that. Um, but they're saying, so you hold this relationship at such a high standard, like it has to stay there. And because of that, you're both growing together and you're both walking forward together and you're both being exposed because it's showing me like the light on both of you. You're both
Mhm.
being exposed at the same time. So it's actually developing you. So like that exposure, they're showing me like the sun shining on both of you, and it's like you both are developing at the same time, but you're developing together, and it's like opening like a rose, like it's opening all these layers, you
Yeah,
know?
which is the very human side of me because I
Yeah.
tend to forget the human side a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you spend a lot of time like in your head or in on the other side, or where are you at then?
both, and also I can detach from anything like that.
Well, so
And
that's because you're a compartmentalist. And that's what I was going to talk about, but then the guides were like, "No, we don't want to talk about that right now." So, but you are a compartmentalist. So like you are someone who separates every part of your life into categories.
Mhm.
And you work on, like, say you work on your business here, and then you work on your relationship here, and then you work on your family here, you work on your friends here, and you just kind
Yeah,
of go in this circle around your life where you're always kind of like you work on one thing and you get that right, and then you put it on a shelf, and then you work on the next thing, get that right, put that on a shelf, but you keep all those things separate for the most part. Like they can overlap a little bit, but
mhm.
if they overlap a lot, like say you have a friend that becomes a family member almost, like they get so close that now they're interacting with your family, that's very uncomfortable for you because that that becomes something that you can't control or separate or make sense of, and you're always trying to make sense of every single thing. As long as it makes sense, it's not going to like bog you down emotionally. You're really good at emotional regulation, but you're
Yes,
really good at emotional regulation because you separate everything. If
right.
everything starts overlapping, it's going to complicate the way you look at it, and then you're going to go, well, that doesn't even make sense now. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, I know how to deal with family, and I know how to deal with friends, and I know how to deal with work relationships. But if all of them start mingling and coexisting, I
Yeah,
don't know what to do with those and those have different rules.
right. Yeah.
So you work on keeping that all balanced by being separate like that. And
Mhm.
that's also how you keep yourself focused, because you are a very focused person and you are very good at time increments. Like you will take time blocks and use them, and you will really accomplish a lot in each one of those blocks, and that's because you're able to separate it that way. Like
Yeah, yeah.
that's actually what you do. And then like your whole thing is all about um your entire driving force is to make the world a better place for you having been here. Like you're
Ever,
trying to have an impact. That's
yeah,
what
ever
you're
since
doing.
I've been a kid, it's like always leave it better than you found it.
Yes. And that would be like your saying if you had one. And then you're applying wisdom to everything that you do, like extreme wisdom. You have wisdom showing up in a strange place. It doesn't normally show up where it's showing up. It normally shows up in the mental because it's mental capacity.
Mhm.
And it says like you're very intelligent and all of those things, and you're tapping into intelligence, which are doing all those things, and that's true, but you're doing it on a spiritual level,
Yeah, I was gonna say
which
because
is
I don't view wisdom
so
as that.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wisdom for me is not a mental thing at all. It's all coming
Yeah.
from the age and from memory and from stuff
Yeah.
much, much older rooted.
So that's what I was gonna say. Your wisdom isn't your own. So you're tapping into divine wisdom, or, you're tapping into other layers of wisdom. Like I'm not, I mean, you have your own wisdom, of course,
No,
but
I know what you mean.
you have like this extreme wisdom that you're tapped into, and you have all these different, because of so they're showing me like the compartmentalization, and they're going, well, when I can't find it here, I look here and then here and then here, and
Right.
then they're showing me like the Akashic records and things like that. So you are tapped into all of that, and I think when you're doing a reading, you're just selecting one of those departments and going, well, let's take something out of here. And it's kind of it's looking like a card catalog to me. Like you're just pulling a drawer and you're going, oh, let's pull this card. And you're
Right.
like, I just want to show you this. And then you like show it to them. And it's just one little fragment of who they are and what they're about. But you're so guided that it's like somebody's holding your hand and helping you pull the card. And that's why it's so accurate, because it's so guided. Um, you also have like a rebirth in this lifetime, which I don't normally talk about, but the guides are saying like that's a very significant thing for you, that
Yep.
there's been some time in your life where everything changed and like completely
Twice.
went a different way.
Yep. Twice.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, so they're saying that you're on the other side of that now. Like you're on the better side of your life than you were before. And it doesn't mean that the other side wasn't good. It's just that that side led you to get to where you are now.
Oh
And
no,
and
yeah, no,
all
the
of
other
that
side was,
built into who you are.
yeah, the other side was annoying. Yes.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even relate to that person that you were then,
Oh,
anymore, because you're a completely different person.
mhm.
And that's a good thing, because this is actually what you came here to be, is what you're doing now. Like that's what they're talking about. And then the other thing is that you're completely on track. Like you're not very confused. You're not very overwhelmed. You're
Yeah.
very, very balanced. Like your energy field is very, very balanced. You're very in control of yourself. You're very in control of your life. You don't have chaos going on anywhere, it just
I,
doesn't feel that way.
or I walk around it. I refuse to. I don't pick up other people's threads.
Hmm. Well, that must be the emotional regulation, you know,
Yeah, and
because
that's
you
what
you
eliminates
don't see
chaos
it.
because
Yeah.
I go and hang out with these friends in West Palm, and they're all my
Hmm.
age but well-to-do and smoke cigars, and we're hanging out and say, "Oh, but you could do this and that and this. You could be making more money." I'm like, "No, I'm okay." I said, "But why?" I said, "Because I've been smoking cigars with you guys for 5 years." I said, "In 5 years, I haven't heard one different conversation yet."
Oh, I know.
I
It's
said,
not hard.
You don't like your wives, you hate your jobs, money is hard." But I said, "You're all, no one's happy." I said,
Hmm.
"My big decision tonight is what ice cream I'm having when I get home."
Hmm. Yeah.
I said, "You guys are
Yeah.
owned by everything." I'm like, "I just refuse."
Yeah, you're absolutely not living that reality.
No,
That reality that everyone, that mundane, like day to
right.
day is all the same. Yeah, you're not living that. I can see that. Um, and it's not like you're not part of everything. You're totally in reality. You're just not susceptible to all the bullshit of reality. That's what it's saying,
Yeah.
and that's good. You're making choices like that. That's the best thing, because
And
you're really living that.
when people say, it's like, "How can you teach this?" It's like, well, I can't teach what I'm not doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm doing this, so I'm letting you know that there is another side to your choice of suffering.
I've always found it strange that people will teach things that they don't practice, you know?
Boggles my mind.
I
Absolutely
mean,
drives me nuts.
I do say, do what I say and not what I do, in a way, because I'm not good at maintaining my practices. I'm good at like going, let's try this experiment, see if it works, and then I'll do it for like a year and it'll work. And
Mm,
then like I'll fall out of rhythm with it, but I'll be like, but it does work. So let me teach it to you. I'm
mm,
not exactly, doing it all the time anymore, but it does work.
right,
Um, but I will say I can't teach anything that I haven't proven to myself.
right.
Like that
Neither can
doesn't
I.
make sense to me, you
Yeah,
know?
it drives me nuts when I see these other people doing that, where they're
Yeah.
teaching and they're stuttering and stammering because
Because they
they
don't know
don't
what they're
have
talking
an ear.
about. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm teaching
Yeah.
something, I can go at the drop of a hat, teach the
Yeah.
subject. If they say, "Can you do this?" Sure, let's go. When? Right now? Okay, roll. And
Yeah.
it's just because it's already there.
Because you're living it. Like you're teaching what you're living.
Right.
Otherwise, where would you pull it from? Like that doesn't even make
Yeah.
sense to me. I don't know what people are doing when they do that, but I have certainly bought courses and worked with mentors and things like that that I'm very aware that they don't know what they're talking about.
And
So
it's like
weird.
when my wife passed away, and even
Hmm.
though I knew better, I was
Yeah.
a wreck for like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was down the beach working with an old god form leader, one of the ocean gods like Poseidon, that
Yeah.
went fine. But then I come home and I open the door to the house, and there's Lear sitting in the middle of the living room, and everything is blues and greens, and it smelled of salt and fish and seaweed.
Wow.
And I'm like, so what do I owe the honor of having you come to visit me? And
Mhm.
he looks up and he goes, we have a message for you. And like an
Wow.
idiot, I asked, and who is we? Wrong question. He was like, anyway, and I'm just after he yelled at me, he goes, and I said, well, what is this message? He said, stop being a wuss. He didn't
Mm.
use that word. He used a much more vulgar word. I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about? He goes, how can you do what you do, know
Hmm.
what you know, and then whine about someone leaving this physical existence when you know where they are? He said, do us a favor, either go back to sleep or become what you are, but you can't have it both ways.
Well, but you're still human.
But they don't
And
care about that. Their
yeah.
thing was, you know this, then
Hmm.
live it.
Hmm.
I knew where she was. I could talk to her, have
Yeah.
no doubt.
Yeah.
So after I pulled the axe out of my forehead, I was like, okay,
Hmm. Yeah.
because that's sometimes what it takes
Yeah.
to really make you look at what you're doing
Yeah.
as a spiritual person or a
Yeah.
psychic or teaching. And if you're going to be the example, you have to be able to do what you're saying you can do.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you probably my most recent experience with that, with something similar,
Mhm.
was about, I want to say like a year ago almost. I I found myself having a really big problem and feeling very suicidal, okay, in the moment. And I was like, I can't go on. I just can't. I can't handle this. It's too hard. I'm done. And I'm sitting there writing a suicide letter. That's what I was doing. And in
Mhm.
the middle of it, I literally hear my guides. I don't hear them, but I hear them.
Yeah.
And they're like, would you just stop this? You're not going to do this. This is ridiculous. Get on with it. And they have no tolerance for my bullshit, for my like emotional human wallowing bullshit. And so sometimes that really pisses me off, but other times it's like such a good reminder. Like in that moment, it was a good reminder. It was like I started laughing. I put down the suicide letter and I went, "You're right. I'm not going to do this. Like I'm not suicidal. This is stupid." Like
As they say,
I know
either
that
you're
that
going
doesn't solve anything.
right. It's either, as they say, it's like either you're going to stay in the trap or you're going to step out of the trap.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
being human is fine, but don't let it control you. You're more than that.
Yes. Well, and that's basically what it was. They're like, okay, let's get in motion again because you're not going to play this human game, you think you are because you're upset, but you're
Yeah,
not going to. And then, by the time just an hour later, I'm
yeah,
already in the mode of fixing it. Like I'm like, well, I guess we just have to fix it. And
right.
and I've been in that mode ever since, really. But they do that. They have these reminders where they're like, stop it. This is just stupid. Like, you know better, you know? And I do find myself, you know, I really struggle with grief, you know, like I really struggle with losing people. It's weird. It's like I don't really I kind of celebrate when people pass on now because I know that they're going home and it makes me happy for them, you know. I celebrate. But when it's someone really close to me, I do grieve the loss of them. I mean, we all do, you know? Even though I know they're standing right here. Like, I know they're with me. I know they're gonna visit me. I know we're gonna communicate still.
And that they're
It's just
coming back and you'll
different,
run
you
across them
know?
again. And yeah,
Yeah, it's so weird because it's like I know they're right here. It's just I'm grieving the life that we shared together and I'm grieving the physical realm with them, you know, but then I'm also at the same time so excited about this new relationship we're going to have between realms, you know?
and
It's such
it's
a
very
weird thing.
sure, it's very easy, and that's getting caught up in the expectations of what we think
Hmm.
this world should be. Because as
Yeah.
we go on our pathways, we have to give up those outmoded expectations because we're not from here anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a weird thing. Like it's
It's
such a
very weird. And
yeah.
that's why he said, goes either go back to sleep or become
Hmm.
what you are, but you can't have it both ways.
Yeah,
They
you
weren't
can't.
being mean about it. They were just like,
Yeah.
here's freedom. This is what you're going for. And you say what you want. And here's stagnation and the trap, which you can stay there
Mhm.
and be happy and ignore everything else.
Yeah. And they're fine with that. They're fine with whatever you choose. It's
Sure.
just they're like, we're not going to play with you. It's not a game. So,
Right. Or
yeah.
rather, you're not playing with us.
Yeah, true.
How
Yeah.
dare, how dare you call on divine wisdom and then turn your back on it and don't live it?
Yeah. Well,
And
that's
that's
hard though because
sure.
you're still trying to balance human and you still have
I
to
know.
do that.
Of
So,
course, but this is for it's like for me, for you. If
mhm.
I'm talking to somebody else, it's like, look, I understand that you're hurting, but maybe
Mhm.
consider this as a reason as to why you're hurting. And
Mhm.
then when they start looking at it that way, then I give them many lives, many masters. I'm like, look at what comes up from past lives, what we bring with us, and know that whoever's gone is coming back, and you'll probably run across them again.
Mhm.
I said,
Yeah.
but we get so wrapped up in what we think is reality that we start forgetting about the larger reality. And that's
Yeah.
what a true spiritual pathway to me is trying to help someone evolve into a larger reality where they don't have to hurt themselves as much.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's such a big conversation. Like it's such a
It can go
big,
on forever.
yeah, yeah. It's just such a bigger thing than us. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I will say that my relationships in the human life are a very different way than my relationships are with my passed on loved ones in the on the other side now. You
Mhm.
know, it's like night and day the way our relationships have evolved and changed, you know.
Sure.
And it's nice. Like I like it. I really do like it. And I like that I can ask them questions still and talk to them and visit with them and you know all those things. So
And it's all part of that larger part of consciousness.
hmm.
And that's tapping
Yeah.
into that is what starts moving everyone more toward freedom.
Hmm.
Or we can choose to stay in the little bubble and beat the hell out of ourselves and degrade. It's like people say, oh, but you're not afraid of you're not afraid of dying. I'm like, death isn't a big deal. Sometimes I don't like the process of it,
Yeah, the
but
process isn't the best
but, but,
always.
cross, but
Yeah.
crossing over, no, it's like a breath of fresh air.
No. Yeah, I'm
It's like
not afraid
here,
of
here
that.
it goes again, and then I have probably many more friends over there than I do here.
Oh
But
yeah.
this is the place of limits, and as you said before,
Mhm.
with me compartmentalizing, I just am owned by very few of those limits, or I catch myself fast
Mhm.
enough where I'm like, that's stupid.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. No, you definitely have an evolved thinking. I can see that right in your chart and I can, you know, I can see that you really live that way. Like it's really obvious,
I
you
have
know.
no choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and you have nothing in your physical, so you don't actually have anything that holds you down. It's
Mhm.
not that life isn't so hard because it's human and human is just hard, but like it's like a different kind. Like it's like you have the understanding that it doesn't have to be hard. That that's choice, you know?
Right. And you
So,
pick what you want to be. Just like my family, my parents were crippled by the time they were 55 or 60 with arthritis. And so, and I'm 64, I don't take any medication whatsoever.
yeah, that's awesome.
And and just
Yeah.
because if something hurts, I don't run and label it and do this. I'm like, it'll heal.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
just go on. And
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it heals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Or I, apply the herbal stuff or castor oil, whatever needs to be. And then
Yeah.
it moves on because if I'm not holding on to it, I'm not giving it the headspace.
You're not giving it the power to rule you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think that that takes a lot of willpower though, and not everyone has that, you know.
For me, it's not willpower anymore. It's
Hmm.
just choosing which way you're going to live.
Hmm.
For
Yeah.
me, it hurts too much living the other way, so I have
Hmm.
no choice except to let it go.
Yeah. Did you ever have a time in your life where you felt overly emotional and like you couldn't?
Oh, sure. Yep. When
Yeah.
when Gina was sick and she was the
Hmm.
only person that I couldn't heal,
Hmm. Yeah.
which drove me nuts. But even that apparently had its reasons to. So that's really annoying when what I could do easily for lots of other people, I could
Hmm.
take away her pain for a little while, but that was it.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that that comes back to the plan. Do you think that there's a plan, that we make
I,
plans for what we're
no,
gonna
I
do?
it's
Yeah.
I firmly believe that there is no plan.
Mhm.
However, we understood what karma she was burning off and where it was from. So something that's
Mhm.
that old may appear to be a plan, but we
Mhm.
always have freedom of choice.
Yeah. See, I believe that there's a grand plan and then that free will is is kind of factored in, you know, like that's how I believe. I couldn't practice numerology if I didn't believe that because that is the plan. You know,
I
like that is the
I got
plan.
it.
I mean, like I couldn't tell you here's your plan that you came
Right.
here with and then say, "Oh, but there's no plan." Um no, the plan is just in my opinion, in my belief system, I should say,
Mhm.
the plan is malleable. You know, it's like
There you go.
it's you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do these 5 things, okay? And I write
Mhm.
that into my plan. And
Right.
then I have a spirit team that is going to guide that to still happen, even though I get to choose any way I want to go when I get here, you know? So I'll go live somewhere different, or I'll go meet other people, or I'll go date someone different, but they're
Mhm.
always going to line up that path so you do still meet your plan. And
Yeah.
so, you know,
But
that
even
that's just
then,
how I believe.
that's a plan that you created and you
Yes.
have a direction, but that was still your plan. And
Hmm.
at any point in time, if your higher self says, "Oh, we need to change this or modify it,"
Yeah,
then it
of course.
changes.
Yeah, of course. Because your higher self is always really running the show.
Sure.
We're just a I believe we're just a fragment of that.
Right.
I'm starting to learn more about how reality works, and I'm actually having a harder and harder time dealing with this life, I guess. Like
Yeah,
dealing with how life works here.
it
You know?
happened
Yeah.
because
Because I'm much more aware that the higher self is I'm just much more aware of how it works. I guess I should
yeah,
say, because it's hard to describe what I'm aware of, you know?
I know. I
So,
totally
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
Because
So,
it's like, here's the plan, and then your higher self is like, we're changing that now. It's like, and you're like,
yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Because it'll be better this way. Fine. It's like,
Yeah, because I just decided I wanted it different or whatever, you
yeah,
know?
yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think these conversations need to be had though. I think a lot of people need to understand a lot of this. A lot of people crave this understanding, you know? And and I think like what it all comes down to is telling people you're in control of it. Like you're not a victim of anything. Like it's not nothing's running the show for you. You're running the show. And
We're
if
at the
you can
very
identify where you made the choices to run the show,
Or at the very least, you can decide how you react to whatever just happened.
Yes. Yeah. 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 I think where I gained a lot of power in my life was when I realized that I was going to live in victim mode forever if I didn't realize that I did have some part in things that happened to me. Like sure, you are a victim at times, okay? But I went back and I was like, but when did I have a choice? Like, where in that path did I have a choice? There was definitely a point where I didn't anymore, but there was a point where I made a choice that got me down that path, you know? And when I identified that, even though you can't change it because it happened already and it's over, you at least can take your power back because you can say, I did actually have power over that. I
Mhm.
didn't realize it at the time, but now I know how to identify it and not to fall into that path again, you know? But for me, it was like I felt so powerless to a lot of things that happened to me until I did that, until I went back and I said, well, I did actually make a choice to be,
Right.
you know, and then I realized, oh, I did have power. And if I did have power then, that means I have even more power now because
Sure.
now I know how to avoid that.
We understand.
So, yeah.
It's like the old story about this person goes to a Zen monastery to study martial arts and meditation, and he's
Hmm.
there for years and years and years, and they're all meditating in the big room. And whenever someone breaks concentration, the master comes over and hits them on the head with a bamboo stick.
Yeah.
And this went on for years and years and years. And it's like,
Mhm.
ow, and he lost concentration. Ow. And finally, one day, after like a decade of this, the master's coming over to hit him, and the guy stands up and he grabs the stick. He goes, no. And the master just let go of the stick. He said, it's about time.
Oh, funny. Yeah.
But like you said, choice.
Hmm. Yeah, choice.
Where did you make the choice? Where was the power given up, or where did you give it away?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of us spend time going back to find that moment, you know? And I don't know that I would have. It was just that I was feeling like such a victim for so long to my circumstances. And I was like, I am not going to keep living this way,
Right.
you
Well, that's
know?
what this world teaches them.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Sure. Until you start seeing out of it, or someone says the right thing, and then that's the beginning of an esoteric pathway, and that's where the real
Hmm.
trouble starts, because to get out of that mode is a lot.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and I think it's a work in progress. I don't think it
Yeah,
happens overnight. And
definitely
I
not.
think that what I've learned over and over that humbles me, okay, is that I will get so far and I will be like, oh, I'm healed. Everything's fine. I feel great, you know? And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, it's like it's back around again in a different way. And I'm
Mhm.
like, shit, this is the same thing on a different level. And I don't know how many times I've gone through that. And maybe you just always do, but
Sooner or
like
later, you
every
drop
time
it.
you go through it, it's a little bit easier, you
Yeah,
know? So,
yeah. It's
yeah.
recognizing the pattern sooner or later, just like the master. You just grab the stick and say, "That's enough."
Yeah, that's enough. I don't want to get hit in the head anymore.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And it's hard
Yeah.
for people to realize. I mean, it sounds really simple and the words are easy. Getting to the point where you can do that, that's the rough part. Until you get there,
Well,
and then it's like,
yeah.
easy.
Well, did you ever notice that like I always thought that there were so many monsters and bullies. Like I always thought, "Oh man, those bullies are monsters. I can't stand up against them. They're gonna defeat me and destroy me and all these things." Did you ever like stand up to a bully and
Yep.
realize that they're not a monster? Like
It,
I,
it doesn't make any difference. You still
it's
have to stand
weird.
up.
I mean, it's just I put it off for so many years. I was like, no, I can't say that. I can't do that. I can't whatever. I'm like, no, 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 because I didn't know what would happen and I was so scared. And then when I did, it was like that person wasn't what I thought they were anyway. It was like they
They're usually
crumbled right
terrified,
there.
but yeah, they were just
Yeah.
making you the victim to make themselves
It's
feel
so
better.
weird. And so
But
ever
regardless,
since then I always do that, you
yeah, but
know?
regardless, you still had to stand up.
Yeah, but standing up isn't scary then after you know that, you know?
Right?
And
Yep.
so until you do it the first time or the 10th time, even sometimes,
Mhm.
you don't know that. But then once you know that, once you know that there's no monsters, once you know that like the bullies are usually more afraid of you than you are of them,
Mhm.
um, you're not scared anymore. And you're like, oh, wait, there aren't any monsters unless I say there are. So,
That's
yeah.
it.
But that's experience. It takes experience. It takes doing it. So, yeah.
Yep.
Anyway. Anyway, this conversation was great. I like it. I love these kinds of deep conversations about everything, about life and
Time just went
everything.
by like that.
Yes, yes, that's the best way. So do you have an offer for the audience that will be watching this?
Okay, yeah, I mean,
So that they
talk about,
can see your magic
oh yeah, I
and
don't know about
experience
magic,
it.
but talk about going really mundane. For the month of February, Valentine's
Mhm.
Day, we are
Mhm.
offering couples readings. So it's two people for half an hour for $50, and we'll help shed some light on what your relationship is doing, and just fun things like that. So the
Sounds
special is
awesome.
two people for half an hour for $50.
That's awesome. It's a great price. And
Yeah,
it's a really nice
yeah, because
offer.
yeah, I mean, we're reasonable because
Mhm.
I can't bring myself to charge what some of these other people are charging. I just can't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And do you offer these sessions over Zoom?
Sure,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
this way we get to go worldwide.
Yes, yes, good. All right. So I will put all the information for that that will be in the show notes
Okay.
and we will probably see you again, I assume.
Yeah,
So
whenever you want. I
so
can't wait to actually
yeah.
see the show air because we couldn't
Yes.
do it live.
Yes, because we couldn't do it live, it's going to be a replay, but that's okay because it's still going to go out hopefully tonight still.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, if it does,
hopefully
send me
tonight.
a link. I want to see it.
Yeah, yeah, I will tag you in all of it. Anyway,
Well,
this
go and
was
have a
great.
yep.
Thank you so much.